Your management style is holding us back, my younger brother Derek announced during what I thought was our regular Monday morning meeting. We need leaders who understand modern construction practices, not people stuck in the past. He was looking directly at me when he said it, his voice carrying the cold authority of someone who'd just inherited everything. My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I'm 44 years old, and until that moment, I was project manager and co-owner of Rodriguez & Sons Construction, the company my father built from nothing in Denver, Colorado. For 18 years, I'd managed every major project, trained every crew member, and maintained relationships with subcontractors across the Front Range. But apparently that made me old school. Derek was 38, 6 years younger than me, and fresh from completing an executive MBA program at the University of Colorado. He'd rejoined the family business 8 months ago with big plans to modernize our operations and leverage technology for competitive advantage. Dad had been impressed with Derek's business education and forward-thinking approach. I'd been skeptical but supportive, hoping we could blend his new ideas with the practical experience I'd gained over nearly 2 decades. We're implementing project management software, drone surveys for site assessment, and automated scheduling systems. Derek continued, clicking through a PowerPoint presentation that looked like it belonged at a tech startup, not a construction company. The era of relationship-based contracting is over. Modern construction is about efficiency metrics and optimized resource allocation. I raised my hand. Derek, our current project completion rate is 98%, and we're averaging 15% under budget on every job. Our subcontractor relationships have saved us over $2 million in the past 5 years through priority scheduling and bulk pricing. That's exactly the outdated thinking we need to eliminate, Marcus, Derek replied with the condescending tone he'd perfected during business school. Those savings are anecdotal, not systematically optimized. We can achieve better results through algorithmic vendor selection and competitive bidding protocols. After the meeting, Derek called me into Dad's old office, which he'd already redecorated with modern furniture and multiple computer monitors displaying construction management dashboards. Marcus, I need to be direct with you, Derek began, not inviting me to sit down. Your approach to project management is hindering our growth potential. While I'm trying to position us for the digital future, you're still operating like it's too. Our client satisfaction scores are the highest in Denver, I replied. We have a waiting list of projects, and our safety record is flawless. But our profit margins are suboptimal, and your project timelines consistently exceed industry benchmarks. I stared at him. Derek, we exceed those timelines because we build things that last. Our clients know that a Rodriguez project means quality and reliability. That's defensive thinking, Derek said, dismissing my concerns with a wave. Modern construction companies are lean and agile. We can't be constrained by legacy relationships and outdated quality standards. 2 weeks later, I was called into a meeting with Derek and our company attorney, Janet Walsh. The termination was presented as a strategic reorganization. We're moving in a different direction, Derek explained. We need project management leadership that can drive digital transformation and optimize for maximum profitability. What about Dad's involvement in this decision? I asked. Dad has complete confidence in my vision for the company's future, Derek replied smoothly. He understands that sometimes difficult decisions are necessary for long-term success. I was offered 12 weeks severance and a positive reference letter. 18 years of building the family business reduced to a corporate restructuring memo. What Derek didn't understand was that construction project management isn't about software and optimization algorithms. It's about trust, quality craftsmanship, and problem-solving under pressure. And those relationships I'd built over 18 years were about to become very valuable to someone else. I joined Rodriguez & Sons Construction straight out of college when it was still a small operation working mostly residential projects. Dad had started the company with 2 pickup trucks and a dream of building something lasting for his family. He'd immigrated from Mexico with nothing but construction skills and an unshakable work ethic. We don't just build buildings, Micho, he told me during my first week. We build reputations. Every project is someone's dream becoming reality. For 18 years, that philosophy had guided everything we did. I'd learned to read blueprints, manage crews, coordinate with subcontractors, and most importantly, understand that every client was trusting us with something precious, their vision for their home, their business, their future. Derek had taken a different path. After college, he'd worked for several large construction firms in California, gaining experience with commercial projects and corporate management systems. When he decided to get his MBA, Dad was proud. One son with experience, one with education, he'd say. Together you'll make Rodriguez and Sons unstoppable. But Derek and I had fundamentally different philosophies about construction. I believed in building relationships with subcontractors, treating workers with respect, and prioritizing quality over speed. Derek focused on margins, efficiency metrics, and competitive positioning. The tension had been building since his return. Derek constantly questioned my project decisions, suggested ways to optimize our operations, and introduced systems that added complexity without improving results. When Dad announced his semi-retirement 6 months ago and named Derek as the new CEO, I'd hoped we could find a balance between his business acumen and my operational experience. I was wrong. The day after my termination, my phone started buzzing with calls from subcontractors who'd heard the news through industry channels. "Marcus, this is Joe Hernandez from Front Range Electrical. I just heard you're no longer with Rodriguez and Sons. What happened?" "Company restructuring. They decided to go with a more technology-focused approach." A long pause. "Who's taking over project management?" "Derek will be handling operations directly, with some new systems and processes." "I don't know Derek's project management style. I've been working with you for 12 years. Similar conversations followed throughout the week. Tony Martinez from Alpine Plumbing, Sarah Chen from Peak Roofing, James Walker from Rocky Mountain Concrete. 18 years of relationships reaching out to understand what had happened and what it meant for future projects. I didn't recruit them. I didn't criticize Rodriguez and Sons. I simply told them the truth. I was no longer with the company, and they'd need to work with Derek going forward. But I also mentioned, when asked, that I was exploring opportunities in independent project management and construction consulting. Within a week, I'd received 23 LinkedIn messages from contractors asking about my plan. 15 of them requested meetings to discuss future collaboration opportunities. Meanwhile, Derek was implementing his digital transformation at Rodriguez and Sons. He'd hired a consulting firm called Build Tech Solutions to install new project management software and redesign our contractor relationships. The system cost $150,000 and promised to revolutionize construction efficiency through data-driven decision-making. What Derek hadn't done was personally meet with any of our key subcontractors to explain the transition. I registered Rodriguez Project Solutions as an LLC and rented a small office in the Denver Tech Center. Within 3 weeks, I had my first contract, a complete project management engagement for a luxury home renovation in Cherry Hills Village, worth $400,000. When we heard you were available independently, we knew we wanted you managing our project. More contracts followed. A small commercial building needed construction oversight. A custom home builder wanted help managing their subcontractor relationship. A property developer was looking for someone to coordinate a multi-building apartment complex. By month 2, I was generating more revenue than my old salary at Rodriguez and Sons, while building exactly the kind of quality-focused, relationship-based business I believed in. I hired my first employee, Lisa Morales, a project coordinator I'd worked with on several Rodriguez and Sons projects. Then Carlos Vega, an experienced site supervisor who understood my approach to quality management. Meanwhile, Rodriguez and Sons was discovering the limitations of algorithmic optimization. Dad called me 6 weeks after my departure. "Marcus, I need to ask you something," he said, his voice tired. "Have you been contacted by any of our subcontractors about working independent?" I chose my words carefully. "Several former partners have reached out about collaboration opportunities. I've been focused on building my own practice, because we've had some unexpected challenges with vendor coordination." I wasn't surprised. Derek's new system treated all subcontractors as interchangeable vendors competing purely on price and availability metrics. He'd terminated several long-term relationships in favor of lower-cost alternatives that looked better in his optimization software. What kind of challenge? Quality issues with new contractors, project delays. 2 clients have complained about workmanship standards. "I'm sorry to hear that, Dad. Is there anything I can do to help?" A pause. Actually, there might be. Could we meet for coffee? Just you and me. We met at a quiet cafe in Lakewood, far from either of our offices. Dad looked older than I remembered, the stress of the business transition showing in his face. Derek is smart, he began, but he doesn't understand our industry like you do. He's treating construction like software development, all about speed and cost optimization. That approach works for some businesses, I said diplomatically, but not for ours. Our clients are investing their life savings in these projects. They need contractors they can trust, not just the lowest bidder. I nodded but said nothing. Marcus, I made a mistake letting Derek push you out. I got caught up in his vision of modernization without considering what we might lose. What are you thinking, Dad? I'm thinking we need to find a way to rebuild what we've lost. What would it take for you to come back? I sipped my coffee, considering the offer. 2 months ago, I would have been grateful for the chance to return to Rodriguez and Sons with better terms. Now, everything had changed. Dad, I appreciate the conversation, but I'm not interested in coming back as an employee. His face fell. Is it about money? We could adjust your compensation significantly. It's not about money. It's about respect and autonomy. I've learned that I can better serve my clients when I'm not constrained by corporate politics and family dynamics. Then what about a partnership? You could run your own division within Rodriguez and Sons. I shook my head. Derek would never agree to that. And honestly, our approaches are too different to work together effectively. Dad stared into his cup. So what happens to the business I built? That depends on Derek. If he's willing to adapt his approach and prioritize relationships over metrics, maybe you can rebuild. If not, I shrugged. A month later, Derek called me directly. His tone was very different from our last conversation. Marcus, this is Derek. I was hoping we could discuss a collaboration opportunity. What kind of collaboration? We handle the project administration and client relations. You handle the subcontractor management and quality oversight. We could split project revenue 60-40. I almost smiled. That's an interesting proposal. But I'm curious, what changed your mind about relationship-based contracting? A pause. I may have underestimated the complexity of subcontractor coordination in this market. Meaning we've lost 6 major subcontractor partnerships in 8 weeks, and our replacement vendors aren't meeting quality standards. 3 projects are behind schedule because of workmanship issues. I checked my calendar. I could meet Thursday afternoon to discuss specifics. We met in Derek's office, which looked different now. The efficiency dashboards had been replaced with project status reports and quality control metrics. He looked exhausted. I've been reviewing our historical project performance, Derek began. The partnerships you maintained had completion rates and customer satisfaction scores significantly above industry averages. And the cost savings from your negotiated subcontractor rates were actually greater than what our optimization algorithms projected. I may have been too focused on theoretical efficiency without considering real-world performance. I nodded. Subcontractor relationships in this industry aren't just about transactions. They're about trust, quality standards, and collaborative problem-solving when issues arise. I'm starting to understand that, Derek admitted. But we've already damaged several key relationships. I'm not sure they can be rebuilt. Some can, some can't. It depends on how the transitions were handled and whether there's still mutual respect. Derek leaned forward. What would it take to repair the relationships we've damaged? Time, humility, and demonstrated commitment to quality over pure cost optimization, I said. But Derek, I should mention that several of your former subcontractors are now working exclusively with my firm. His face went pale. Which ones? The ones who were most concerned about Rodriguez and Sons' new direction. They needed reliable partnerships for their own businesses, and they couldn't wait for you to figure out your approach. Over the following month, Derek's digital transformation hit more obstacles. The optimization software that had cost $150,000 couldn't handle the complexity of custom construction projects. Quality issues with new low-cost subcontractors led to 2 major client complaints. A prestigious commercial project was delayed by 6 weeks because replacement contractors couldn't meet the technical specifications Derek's system had overlooked. Meanwhile, Rodriguez Project Solutions was thriving. We'd signed partnerships with 15 companies, including 5 former Rodriguez & Sons subcontractors who'd brought their entire project networks with them. Our revenue was approaching $150,000 per month, and we were getting project requests faster than we could handle them. The breakthrough came when Dad called an emergency family meeting. I know because Tony Martinez from Alpine Plumbing gave me a heads up. Rodriguez & Sons owed his company $75,000 for work they'd rejected due to quality standards that hadn't been properly communicated. They're trying to blame our installation methods, Tony told me during our monthly planning meeting. But the specifications they provided don't match the architectural requirements. It's clear they don't understand what they approve. What are you going to do? File a lien and terminate our service agreement. We can't work with a company that doesn't understand their own project requirements. That was the tipping point. When Alpine Plumbing published their contract termination notice, citing incompatible quality standards, 4 other subcontractors followed within a week. Rodriguez & Sons lost access to their most reliable partners for electrical, plumbing, roofing, and concrete work. 2 weeks later, Dad called me at home. "Marcus, I need you to come to dinner Sunday. Family meeting. Derek will be there." "Dad, I don't think, please Micho. This family is falling apart and the business is failing. I need both my sons in the same room." Sunday dinner at Dad's house felt like a funeral. Derek sat at one end of the table. I sat at the other, and Dad sat between us looking like he'd aged 10 years in 3 months. "I'm going to be direct," Dad began. "Rodriguez & Sons is in trouble. We've lost major subcontractors. Client complaints are increasing, and our project completion rate has dropped to 72%. Derek shifted uncomfortably. "We're going through a transition period. The new systems need time to optimize." "Derek, we can't afford any more optimization," Dad said firmly. "We're losing clients and damaging our reputation." "What are you suggesting?" Derek asked. Dad looked at both of us. "I'm suggesting we figure out how to fix this as a family, or we lose everything I spent 35 years building." Derek glanced at me. "Marcus has made it clear he's not interested in coming back." "I'm not interested in coming back as an employee," I corrected. "But I might consider a different arrangement." Dad leaned forward. "What kind of arrangement?" I'd been thinking about this possibility for weeks. Rodriguez & Sons focuses on large commercial projects where Derek's business systems add value. Rodriguez Project Solutions handles custom residential and specialty construction where relationships matter most. We refer clients to each other based on project requirements. "That's actually reasonable," Derek said slowly. "We could operate as sister companies under the same family umbrella, with complete operational independence," I added. "No shared management, no conflicting approaches." Dad nodded. "And Rodriguez & Sons keeps its reputation for quality, while expanding into new markets." "There's one more thing," I said. "I want to hire back the subcontractors you've lost. Not steal them, hire them as preferred partners for both companies. Give them the stability they need while ensuring we have reliable teams." Derek looked skeptical. "That's expensive. Preferred partner contracts cost more than competitive bidding. They also deliver better results," I replied. "And right now you need results more than cost saving." Over the next month, we negotiated a family business restructuring that nobody had anticipated. Rodriguez & Sons remained Derek's company, but with a renewed focus on commercial projects and industrial construction. Rodriguez Project Solutions became the premium residential division, handling custom homes and specialty renovations. Most importantly, we rebuilt relationships with our subcontractor network. Instead of competitive bidding wars, we offered preferred partner agreements that provided steady work in exchange for priority scheduling and quality guarantees. 6 months after my termination, I was running a construction project management firm with 12 full-time employees, 28 active projects, and annual revenue approaching. We'd grown by focusing on exactly what Derek had called outdated, building genuine partnerships based on trust, quality, and long-term value creation. Derek's optimization approach hadn't disappeared entirely. Rodriguez & Sons now used project management software and data analytics to enhance their commercial operations, not replace relationship management. The difference was that technology served the partnerships instead of substituting for them. Dad summed it up perfectly during a family barbecue. Marcus didn't just manage projects, he built a network of craftsmen who became our competitive advantage. We almost lost that by confusing efficiency with effectiveness. A year after my departure from Rodriguez and Sons, I received a handwritten note from Derek. He'd successfully completed his first major commercial project using the new systems, and Rodriguez and Sons was profitable again. Turns out the future isn't about choosing between technology and relationships, he wrote. It's about using technology to strengthen relationships. Thanks for showing me what Dad's legacy really means. I responded with a simple text: family businesses succeed when everyone plays to their strengths. Today, Rodriguez Project Solutions is recognized as one of Denver's premier construction management firms. We've expanded into Colorado Springs and Fort Collins, with plans for statewide operations within 3 years. When industry publications ask about our secret, I always give the same answer. We remember that behind every construction project is a family's dream. Our job is to help them build it right, not just build it fast. Derek had called me old school and suggested my time was over. But in an industry increasingly dominated by cost-cutting and corner-cutting, traditional values like quality craftsmanship and reliable partnerships had actually become more valuable, not less. Sometimes the most radical innovation is remembering what actually works and building modern capabilities around those proven foundations. The old ways aren't always obsolete. Sometimes they're just worth preserving.